All right, homeowners, it's time to sell your house in Arizona. Welcome back, everyone, to my weekly market update. In this episode, I'm gonna show you a couple data that's encouraging that the seller. I think it's time for you to sell your house. Okay, after a couple weeks of in favorable of the buyers, the Arizona housing market has just shifted again, barely, giving the seller some time to giving some opportunity for the seller if they really want to sell right now. This is the time for us to sell. And if we're looking at the comfort market index with the which track the market balance across Phoenix, Arizona, right? It's an average right now 0.4% increase. If you have followed my website, my webinar, you know that for the last several weeks, we have a negative monthly change of the market index. Now we have a positive 0.4% negative, positive, okay? Last week is negative 0.8, and I've been warning about potential to become zero and to be positive. This week, we actually have the positive situation, okay? While this is not a major change yet, right? Negative 0.8, negative 0.4% is not much different. It's the first positive shift for weeks. And it's actually the very good that we need. That's a very good signal that we need to continue watching for it. All right. With that, let's dive right into some of the information. Okay, because we do actually have some. Um, um, I'm sorry. Okay, right here. Okay, we do have some information that is in favorable of the seller. Okay, especially looking at this. Okay, we have 5 different cities that in favor moving toward the seller. All right. So we number one, Paradise Valley. We have 36% increase. Now Paradise Valley Comfort Market Index is 198.95.8, the top of the list, right? A solid seller's market. Because I told, if you follow the channel, you know that from 90, from 110 or more, it's going to be a seller's market. From 90 to 110 is a balanced market. And if it is less than 90, it's actually in the buyer's market. In this case, Paradise Valley has 159.8. What a significant change. Okay, what a significant change. So that's a good news for Paradise Valley. But however, we also have Cave Creek is 0.7% increase. Okay, now Cave Creek is 95.3. We have Goodyear 4% increase at 77 point. Glendale 4% increase at 103.2. Chandler 2%. Now push Chandler back to the seller's market. I have been surprising that Chandler is not the seller's market, right? Because I know how difficult it is to get a house in Chandler for the buyers. Okay, very competitive market, and now it's actually back to the. This is actually beside Paradise Valley, right? It's actually the first cities that come back to the seller's market, and Scottsdale 1% increase now at 94.2 point. Okay, these are the area might offer sellers better condition. These 6 cities definitely in favorable of the seller, right? Especially now the seller in this area, they don't need to reduce the price, they don't need to give out concession, they don't need to do as much repair as before. They still do, but they don't not as much, right? But it's still a tight race. Okay, pricing strategically still remain the same. That's the warning for the seller, though, right? Because it's starting moving, but beside Paradise Valley, there's not nothing that has the 2-digit increase. Okay, so we still have to be careful of the pricing strategy for the seller in those cities. Okay, what about the buyers? Okay. First of all, let's talk about. We already talked about this, but let's focus on Paradise Valley, which has a 36% surge. What a significant increase. Okay. Obviously, the reason is that it's still mainly the luxury market, right? Not a lot of inventory available in this market, and therefore, it's even more challenging for the buyers to buy houses in this area. That's the reason why it has so much of the increase right now. Okay, 36% increase actually. Buyers market. Okay, some of the cities that still struggling. Right? We have six. We have 5 cities that I show you increase in the sellers market, but there's still some. And the worst is Avondale. Avondale. Okay, it's the biggest hit. A 13% drop from the seller market of 111 dropped down to 96. Okay, so let's go to the balance market. So obviously it's a really big drop for Avondale. Fountain Hills go after at -6%, Maricopa at -5%, and the rest is about -3 to -4. The rest, which is the remaining 8 cities that is moving into the buyer territory. Okay, the majority of these markets still offer strong buyer markets as a result, right? Including Buckeye, which now just about 49 points on a CMI scale. As a reminder, anything that is less than 90 is considered a buyer's market, okay? Buckeye is 49, so you have plenty of negotiation power for the buyers in this market, in those cities, okay? Um, what about the interest rate? Okay, the thing that we talk about interest rate is a lot of people asking, when is the interest rate go down? When the interest rate go up, right? Here's the information about the interest rate as of today. It's for 30 years on average is 6.75%, and 15 years is 5.92%. Now, this as a warning, this is just an average number. Some of you may have a little bit higher, some of you may have a little bit lower percentage interest rate, right? It's mainly because of the credit, it's mainly because of the down payment, but keep in mind, this number is an average of everyone in the country, not just Arizona, not just Chandler, not just Gilbert, everyone in the country to come up with this number. All right. So it is not a surprise if you don't have this number, depending on the situation. Anyway, the reason why I want to bring this one is that at 7, if you look at the blue line right here at 6.75, it has been around this number since January 2024. The number hasn't changed for more than a year already. I mean, of course, it's go up and it's go down, but it's go up again. Right now, it's about 6.75. That is still the number. And that is exactly the reason why a lot of buyers are still waiting, because they don't see any real, well, to be honest with you, during the time that it go down to 6%, around 6% here, a lot of people actually back up to the market, but it's not strong enough to move the needles of the market at that time. Okay. I think that in one of the survey that I saw is that like 84% of the people waiting for the interest rate to actually go down to 5%. Okay. So as of right now, we don't have that situation yet. Unfortunately, it's still high. And for those people who are still waiting, hear me out. You may lose your chance, because as you know, for the last couple, you may have lost your chance. Actually, you may have lost your chance already, because if you remember, for the last couple of weeks, we saw a very weak sellers market. We now have some momentum that the seller gaining back power, negotiation power, right? So because of inventory, mainly because of inventory. Inventory is no longer the problem. It's still high, but not a lot of seller putting houses available on the market anymore. So that's the reason why we don't have that power without the buyer losing the momentum in terms of negotiation. Okay, so what does that mean for the buyers and the seller? Okay, the seller is maybe the time for you to sell, especially if you're in Paradise Valley, if you're in Chandler, if you're in Glendale, right? Those are the cities that have some momentum toward the sellers. It's the time for you to sell. If you have to sell, of course, okay? If you don't, just stay a little bit, hang tight a little bit. I think it's maybe going to be better for the seller toward the end of the year, okay? It's now time for you to sell. Number one is not only that you right now the market moving toward the seller as a whole, but it's also less competition on the market. A lot of people back out already, so that's the reason why when you put your house on the market, it's more competition. Okay, and it could help you stand out. Okay, But you still remember, you still have to price wisely. If you price crazily high, it's not the buyer will not choose your house. Okay, because here's the thing: the demand is still well below normal. So if you price way too high, people are gonna tune out and they're not gonna consider you as an option. If you are the buyer, okay, you still have the upper hand in most of the area in the valley, in the counties, right? We have about 11 cities that you still in favorable for the buyers. But this small shift could mean the window is starting to tighten. Okay, so that means you have to be faster to be able to get some of the negotiation power. You don't want to wait until it's become, positive 10, positive 20, and then you're going to have way more difficult to negotiate during this time. Okay, act now before the market turns toward the sellers completely. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching today's episode. If you are interested in receiving a weekly update, market update, delivered to your email, feel free to scan this QR code right here, and we'll send you the information. Otherwise, you can also go to the website called magicalsuccessrealty.com. That is my website on the chat on the screen right here. Go to the market update and you can read all the information that we have about the market as of today. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.